That means a guy of average attractiveness has to swipe right 1,000 times to get one coffee. Now, what does that tell that guy? Women don't value me. Women make me feel rejected. And then they go online and they see these misogynists telling them it's not your fault. And these men become much more prone to misogynistic content, much more prone to nationalistic content, blaming other people for the lack of economic opportunity. They start sequestering from society. I worry that we are literally evolving a new species of asexual, asocial male.
Every time I see Scott Galloway interviewed on his like Poor Single Men tour, I want to step into the phone and I want to shake the interviewer and be like, ask the fucking question. Somebody who cross-examines people for a living, like, how are you leaving this on the table? The argument always goes something like, women are getting pickier and pickier and picking less men. Those men are getting increasingly lonely and turning into incels. Those incels are changing the shape of our world. What happens before this? What precedes the women are getting more picky? Like, has this man never for a second paused and thought, well, what's the actual like root cause of all of this? Do you know why he ends his inquiry at the location where women are blamed for the entire cycle? Yeah, because if you go a step back, he's culpable. He's part of the problem creating this situation. Women are getting more picky because they can, because they have financial resources. They would have always been this picky had they been given a choice. Oh, so the problem is women having money. Nope, you got to go a step further from that. We are taking boys and we are robbing them of everything that it takes to be a good partner. We shame them out of interacting with their feelings. We shame them out of learning basic domestic life tasks. Infuse them with main character syndrome where they genuinely believe that anything they want, they're entitled to, regardless of the impact that it has on other people in their lives. And then our society collectively does its absolute best to convince them that the people they're supposed to be in these relationships with aren't like really totally full people. They're not really full people. They're there to serve them. Women not wanting to partner with men is a direct result of patriarchy. But instead of acknowledging this entire cycle, which creates the incels that are then fed back into and reinforcing patriarchy, you go downstream enough to the first location where you can be like, it's women's fault. Why are they so picky? Galloway will then say something like, I'm not like telling women to settle. And it's like, well, then what are you telling us? What is your point of going on this PR tour that's 2-3 years now where you're lamenting that poor, young men can't get laid? What is the point of your advocacy for incels? If it's not to get women to settle, which is exactly what it sounds like, then what is it? Tell us. Enlighten us. Tell us what you think the solution is. Stop complaining about the problem that you know nothing about, business professor, and give us the solution. Tell us. Because if you said it out loud, you would be canceled. If you said out loud what you're actually asking, which is for women to lower their standards, partner with awful men who will make their lives worse, just so society will be a little less scary for you. Not only are dating apps not natural, but I can prove to you that none of them actually want you to find your long-term partner. Data. There is enough data out there on all of us that if the dating apps bought the data, they could actually pair us with the most compatible person in like 5 minutes. They did a study that found just the data stemming from people's Facebook likes became better predictors of their behavior than their own friends, family, and spouses could predict. That's right, just Facebook alone and the data that they collect knows you better than everybody in your life. And that's just a tiny fraction of the data about us all that is out there. And the apps actually are buying that data about us, but they're using that data to just like sell us more things like everyone else. They could use that data instead to match us with the 10 most compatible people within a 20-mile radius, easy peasy. And they don't do it. Hell, even a dating app that just matched follower lists on TikTok would be highly predictive of compatibility. None of them do it for the obvious reason that there's a lot more money to be made in keeping you on the like dating hamster wheel over and over again. They flew too close to the sun on that, and now they have burned so many people so many times that now even if they wanted to go back to something where they actually tried to match us better, no one's going to trust them probably ever again. The market is ripe for a new dating app, a startup that isn't in any way owned by the conglomerates. Because the ones in their current iteration are the equivalent of you walking up to an ice cream shop and being like, I really want strawberry, I'm craving strawberry, and then being like, have a vanilla, so that you'll come back every day looking for that strawberry. All it takes is one app out there to actually start giving us the strawberry, and the method of doing it is right in front of your faces. And I know that they've thought about it, and they've still chosen not to do it. Yes, let's talk about negging. I have so much to say. Because yeah, negging doesn't work the way that men think it does. For me, and I think for most women, I do not think that I'm alone in this, but my greatest attraction to men is born of their like yearning for me. My yearning is born of their yearning. If I read that a guy is not into me, even if I've previously had a crush on him, I will like immediately not be interested. I will forget him literally within 24 hours. Not in a bitter way, I'm just no longer attracted to you. The only way my attraction can come to full fruition is if you are wild about me. All of my long-term relationships, they were in it very clearly and loudly and unequivocally out of the gate. Their vibe was like borderline worship. Probably the hottest moment of my life was when this childhood crush of mine, who I hadn't seen in 10 years, like happened to be passing through my city, and we got together, and he had a speech prepared after not seeing me for a decade, and the speech began with, "You have been the metric by which I have measured all women and found them lacking." That was the beginning of his speech. I know what men are going to say, which is like the only difference between a man doing something that's really attractive and really creepy is just whether or not you like him. But that's not the metric. The metric is whether or not you have actually read whether she might be interested in you. I've had 3-4 guys in my life who I was good friends with, and then at some point decided to shoot their shot. But the vibe of them shooting their shot was very like, I don't think that this is reciprocated, but I have to shoot my shot anyway. And it was very respectfully done. Not creepy. Even though I wasn't into them, it didn't feel creepy because they had taken the time to like take stock of and read the room and determine whether or not I was into them. And you know, they had guessed right. Creepy is when you guys romantic gesture all over the place without even taking a second to ponder, does she like me back? And it feels creepy because it's born of a place of you just wanting what you want, regardless of whether we want it back. But negging, the only way men have found any success negging, it's because it makes them feel a little bit more self-confident. They neg a woman, it makes them feel a little confident, and then they approach that woman or maybe even another woman with a little bit more confidence. And the women just like indulge the negging because they understand that he's like working himself up, you know? It's not creating attraction for her. It's just something that she may or may not begrudgingly tolerate. If men really wanted to turn women on, be all in. Yearn, baby. But stop yearning all over the place if she expresses disinterest. It's not that hard.